Mrs. Adebayo had been teaching Primary 4 at Unity's Children's Academy in Lagos for 15 years. Her students loved her strict but caring nature. But one hot Wednesday morning would show her that even experienced teachers can be surprised. It began when Chidera Okafor joined her class mid-term. His father had moved from Enugu to Lagos for work. But something wasn't right. While other children played football during break time, Chidera always sat alone under the mango tree, never letting go of his school bag. Mrs. Adebayo noticed troubling signs. Chidera never ate during lunch break. When classmates offered to share their jollof rice or meat pie, he would politely refuse. Though his eyes followed every bite, he often dozed during afternoon lessons. As days passed, Mrs. Adebayo noticed more worrying signs. Chidera wore the same faded uniform every day. During Mass, he would count his pencil marks carefully, making each pencil last as long as possible. But most concerning was how he gathered his black school bag, holding it tight even when he used the restroom. Then came that Wednesday during cleaning time. As Chidera was sweeping his assigned area, his bag caught on a desk and tore open. As provisions spilled across the floor, the whole class went quiet. Chidera froze, his face filled with shame and fear. Inside the bag weren't books or a lunchbox. Instead, there was a wrinkled photo of a woman in a beautiful Ankara wrapper, some cold sachet water, and a letter written in shaky handwriting. Dear Mama, I'm praying for you every day. Please get well soon. My mother, she's very sick, Ma, Chidera whispered, his voice shaking. Since Papa lost his job at the factory, we've been managing. Mama can't sell her plantains at the market anymore. He wiped his tears with his sleeve, trying to be strong like a proper Nigerian boy. The truth poured out like rain. They've moved from their 3-bedroom flat to a single room in Ajegunle. His father had gone to Abuja to look for work 3 months ago, but they hadn't heard from him since. His mother's illness was getting worse because they couldn't afford the hospital bills. Mrs. Adebayo held Chidera's hand tightly. "Omo me, my child," she said softly, using her wrapper to wipe his tears. She remembered her own childhood struggles and knew exactly what needed to be done. First, they would deal with today's hunger. Within an hour, the school security man, Baba Ahmed, had gone to buy hot food from Mama Put's nearby. The school nurse, Sister Agnes, was checking her first aid supplies. The school proprietor was already making calls to the Parents Association. That evening, Mrs. Adebayo visited Chidera's home with Sister Agnes. Their small room in the Face Me I Face You compound was neat but sparse. Chidera's mother, Mrs. Okafor, tried to stand to greet them with a proper welcome, but she was too weak. "I've been hiding it from my son," Mrs. Okafor confessed, dabbing her eyes with her wrapper. "The doctors at General Hospital say I need surgery, but where will I see such money? I've been drinking only abo, managing myself." The next morning, the school compound was buzzing with activity. The Parents Association had called an emergency meeting. Mama Bintu, who sold rice in the market, brought 2 bags of food. Mrs. Adekoke, a retired nurse, offered to check on Mrs. Okafor daily. "God will bless you all," Mrs. Okafor wept as she poured in. The Market Women's Association pledged to pay 1 month's rent. The school driver offered to take her to hospital appointments. Even the local imam and parish priest came together to raise funds for her surgery. For the first time in months, Chidera stopped carrying his heavy bag everywhere. His shoulders relaxed. He started playing football during break time. His books were full of completed assignments instead of worried doodles. Most importantly, He began to smile again. 1 year later, during the school's end of the term ceremony, Mrs. Okafor stood tall and healthy before the crowd. No longer sick woman in the tiny room. She now ran a thriving food store outside the school gates, selling the best jollof rice in the area. My fellow parents, she said, her voice strong and clear. Look at your children's classmates carefully. The child who is too quiet, who never eats lunch, who wears the same clothes, that child could be carrying a burden too heavy for their small shoulders. But in Nigeria, we say, Omeni, Onifoyani kiafo si kete kete, which means one's child won't fall into a gutter while we watch them fall into a ditch. Today, my Chidera is the third best in his class. This school did not just teach him mathematics and English. It taught him that he is not alone. And me, I learned that sometimes the strongest thing a parent can do is ask for help.